When you believe in the goddess and love older women, it can only lead you to the streets. 'Tis another priest with a vice. Vices. As we know by Frieren's first-hand experiences, that priests are definitely corrupt in the drinking way, not in the other way you might be thinking about. He is the mystical, average guy with extraordinary gifts that could have been a priest of the holy city like the corrupt Hyther. Go TP Sein! This character is all about guilt and regret. That is the major theme of Sein's journey of Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. I guess in this case, Sein, Beyond Journey's End. One where you make decisions to neuter what's best for yourself for an excuse to help others perceive best interests. One where you are living a life full of regret, where your childhood best friend is living out his best life. Or is he? Sein's journey is one where it will make you reflect upon your own life decisions. Are you truly living out your best life, or are you limiting yourself with a superficial excuse? Sein literally embodies many characteristics and vices that an ordinary adult average man would be into, like gambling, smoking, drinking, and Twin Peaks. On a more serious note, Sein is the final piece to the party of four. Not only is it essential to have a warrior in the party that can absorb all the damage while you pew pew in the back, having a priest that is resistant to curses, poisons, and has healing capabilities akin to the goddess's magic. He literally saved their lives against a sleepy plant monster. Aside from a practical adventure party composition standpoint, he is literally the missing adult figure that stabilizes Frieren's party, with a shonen, a shoujo, and an older woman that lacks any real normal people's social intelligence with the sex appeal. In Frieren, this dude Himo literally put a ring on her finger, and that led to Himo getting older, growing shorter, and then dying. Basically alone. Sein's understanding of social situations and just social awareness as a whole keeps the other three in check when any kind of internal conflict arises. When Frieren herself can't comprehend and settle certain social scenarios, it is Sein whom she turns to. He provides sound, level-headed adult advice not only for Stark and Fern, but can be an equal to Frieren's Baba-like maturity. There is a level of groundedness and natural wisdom he can provide for our growing up too fast future ship of Stark and Fern. Like many other characters in Frieren, he is designed in a way that doesn't distract you too much from the physical appeal. Thus, the character designs themselves are ones where it doesn't create cheap fans based on shallow qualities and fan service. In fact, Sein is a dude's dude. A guy you can have a nice conversation with, play some friendly card games, have a smoke with, and talk about hot cougars. Frieren is a story about being introspective and self-reflective. As a result, it's the qualities of these characters that end up standing out the most. That's why the story of Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, is so damn good, and counter to most typical fantasy animes out there. One of Sein's biggest growing regrets was that he never stuck his hand out to match Gorilla's adventurous goals, using his brother in his home as an excuse that they needed him. He opted for the monotony of everyday life in his small poor village, in which it included some coping like gambling, smoking, drinking, and aging waifus. In the story, there was a time before Frieren showed up of his adventure with Frieren's current party of Stark and Fern, and there was a time after he left Frieren's party to go chase after Gorilla. In that time period, we end up learning that he went on random adventures with various other parties, in which Sein's path eventually leads to the reunion with Frieren and others. Don't worry, I won't spoil anything major in the manga. The arc of Sein is one that has many layers of meaning. In the latest arc in the manga with the Shadow Assassins trying to yeet Sari, this will likely be the arc where Sein finds some kind of closure and understanding to his adventurous chase after Gorilla. It was hinted at Sein's departure to go look for Gorilla, and later on in the manga that the fourth party priest member would be for Sein, and not for the thick Matode, unfortunately, who was down to temporarily travel with them. I'm with Stark. Sein would be disappointed that they didn't let a thick cougar waifu travel with them. At least Frieren was able to admit that she is indeed and older women. Which reminds me of what Sein's reaction would be, seeing the mythic feet goddess for the first time in Seri. There is eventually meeting Matode too, who seems like the ideal waifu for Sein. She has very nurturing and sweet aspects about her, and she got big ass just like with Craft the Monk that hinted at seeing what comes from Frieren's journey. The next time they meet, Sein's reappearance is one of excitement as he left a little too soon before fully getting the grand experience with all four in the major arc with high stakes. I mean, look at the artwork. There are colors, meaning this is going to be dramatic. This happens during the Goddess Monument arc 2, where Frieren goes back in time. Season 2 of the anime should be just as good as Season 1, if not better. What is most important about Sein's arc is what he got slapped in the face for, running away from his adventures and just accepting his boring, monotonous life. Being one of great talent, recognized by Frieren herself, sometimes it does feel like a waste when you can't express these talents. It's kind of a similar problem to what fans have against Gohan off of Dragon Ball. All of this talent, but it's not utilized. I'm sure Hypter's presence at an early age helped cultivate devout beliefs and was able to provide guidance that helped him hone his talents. It's hard to see something so talented be slowly withering away when his talents has its grander uses, as it's already been mentioned that his brother has his hometown down on lock. Anyways, during Sein's time with Frieren, Stark, and Fern, there were a lot of shorter term adventures that got to give us a taste of various aspects of his character. For an entire episode of his introduction, we got to know exactly what kind of guy he is with his vices, his talented priest abilities, like healing the poison Stark. And for just a wee bit, we got to see his battle prowess, and we got to see the aspects of his overall social guidance, especially when these two get into a fight. Stark and Fern's slow burning romance is also one that can be seen as a regret for Sein as well. Although this is an unexplored part of Sein's character of his past romances, it would be natural to assume that his very effective relationship advices are ones that can be from very close experiences. Just imagine if Sein was like, I had a U-belt back in my day. Megane's got it rough, guys. Knowing that Sein left right before a major arc like the first class mage exam sets us up for a bigger payoff down the line, like way down the line, when everyone eventually crosses paths again. To be fair, if Sein was still with them during that arc, he would have been relegated to what Stark was doing, which was almost nothing. Sein's journey is one of not accepting the adventurous natures that he kept pushing down. It is one of fear, not wanting to let people down, and not scratching the itch to experience what more life has to offer. No matter what happens with Gorilla in the end, it is Sein's own projection that also forces him to think about Gorilla, who is off on his own adventure, maybe even giving up on Sein, as he obviously doesn't have that regret of not chasing adventure. Sein's chase for catching up with him is one where it will provide self-clarity and acceptance, whatever Gorilla ends up doing, and whatever reasoning he has for what he's doing, in which we eventually find out something major about him and what he is doing right now. It is one where Sein will likely end up understanding that his path is his and Gorilla's path is his. A life purpose is something you naturally have an affinity for, something you naturally gravitate towards, and one where you build yourself. This is what I think Sein's character ends up being about in the end. If you guys haven't caught up with the manga, it literally went on a hiatus. I'm sure a much needed hiatus for the creators. When things are about to get nuts, this arc is set up to be the first class mage exam, but even more insane in terms of battles and everyone that is involved. There is tons of drama, lots of interesting exposition, like more elves being talked about, and so many other characters to get into. And of course, this is the arc that Sein eventually comes back and will likely conclude Sein's chase after Gorilla. Gorilla could be like when adventuring goes horribly wrong, from living a wild life to wildlifing people for the betterment of society. Sein's not just a support class priest, he's a mirror for people who settled too early, for talents that never got tested, for dreams quietly shelved. And the story now gives him this second chance, with a little help and persistence from Frieren, Fern, and Stark that basically represent that bigger adventure needs you, Sein. So that second chance, with the boost of some future friends, maybe one that we might need to extend our hand to. We just need to grab that hand and be bold enough to chase that adventure. So yeah guys, let me know what you guys thought about Sein. He was my favorite character in Frieren while he lasted, and so I'm glad he's making a comeback in a spectacular way in the manga. He's a guy in his 30s that has typical guy vices, and it's not a wimp like Stark. He's great for like the older guy audience in Frieren, like myself, and he is the perfect balance for Frieren's party with Fern and Stark. Although I really would have enjoyed to see Methode temporarily travel with Frieren, Stark, and Fern. They could have had some fun adventures. And with the potential of her and Sein coming together, I would have loved that. That is my ship. If you guys read the manga, you probably know what I'm talking about, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. And so yeah, I really enjoy Sein's journey, and I really love how he's being used in the latest arc. And so I can't wait for it to come back and to continue the story, as the journey has not ended just yet. So yeah guys, let me know what you guys think about Sein of Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Do me a favor and hit the like button if you like older women, and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Check out my blog at otakusen.com, and I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.